This is my review for Okami HD on Nintendo Switch. I picked this game up on sale for $9.99. It's normally $19.99 in the Nintendo eShop. It's a Switch port of a game originally, I believe, for the PlayStation 2, maybe PlayStation 3, and then ported to the Wii later, and then also now ported to the Nintendo Switch and more modern consoles as well. So, in the modern console updates, we got an HD remaster. It's higher quality graphics, widescreen, better frame rates, things like that. Okami is, graphically, it's a really beautiful game. A lot of hand-drawn art styles, a lot of, like, Japanese influences. I believe it is a Capcom game. So it originates in Japan. It's full of Japanese folklore and gods and things like that. So graphics. I'm gonna give the Okami HD. I want to say a 7. I mean, it's obviously a remaster. You can tell that it's very limited and it's very simplistic. The graphics could be better, and supposedly they have announced an Okami 2 that will be, more modern, more updated. It'll be a lot better graphics-wise, but you could tell that this was a port. Now, it's still a beautiful stylistically, but as far as the actual graphics go, there's a lot to be desired. Gameplay-wise, I can tell it's going to be a long game. It's going to be a very long game. It's a long story-like game, kind of like a Legend of Zelda kind of thing. You start off in a village and you have to learn to use your powers one at a time, and you have to help the villagers. There's options. There's little side quests like you're a dog. You play as a dog. Amaterasu has taken over the body of a dog, kind of, or something. I don't know. And you have to dig up turnips in a lady's garden when she gets mad at you. You have to kind of like avoid her and dig up 10 turnips or something without her catching you. It's very similar to the Legend of Zelda, things where you have to like find 10 chickens and return them back to the chicken farmer and that kind of stuff. And you don't really earn, it's not a main quest, but it's part of the side quest. But there are main quest items that you have to do. It's pretty fun. So gameplay-wise, it's confusing because there's a lot of it. It's a little too unique for its own good, especially on the Switch. I did play with independent Joy-Cons, and doing the little writing and stuff on the screen with the Joy-Cons was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. It wasn't tuned exactly properly, but I feel like if I had it in handheld mode and I was actually drawing on the screen, I feel like that would like really be the ticket. Like you just hold down the button, with your finger, and then it would take off. So I feel like gameplay wise, I want to give it a high mark, but I'm actually going to take some off because I felt like it was kind of hard to control, and I'm going to go ahead and give that a 6.5. There was a lot to do in the game. It just felt really slow, and the dialogue it's slow moving. It's a very slow burn for the dialogue. I must have spent 45 minutes playing the game before I actually got to play the game. Just clicking through the story and getting through all the different dialogues and the training. It was a little too verbose for my liking. Audio-wise, this is where the game really pops off. I'm going to give it an 8.5. There was a lot of like classic Japanese kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the old Japanese kabuki theater. Kabuki is the word I'm looking for. That kabuki music, the little drums and just the little sounds. That was great. I loved the music, especially during the battle sequences. And when you'd finish the battle, you'd hear this flourish. That was beautiful. There could have been some voice acting, but obviously being an older game built for an older console, I can understand why there wasn't a lot of voice acting, because those kinds of files are going to take up a lot of data there. So I can understand why they didn't. Story-wise, it also has a very, very big story. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of Japanese characters and people from folklore and legend that bring together a great story about a great warrior who has to go and you accumulate one power per dungeon or main area of the game, and you know it's a very classic story, but they did a really good job of applying something unique to a classic formula. So I'm going to go ahead and give this story also an 8, which brings Okami HD to an average of 7.5. And I feel like that's where it belongs. Once again, I bought it for $10 in the eShop, $9.99 when it was on sale. I feel like that was a good value. I feel like $20 might have been a little too much for a game that's just a remaster of an older game. But for $10, it was definitely a steal. So just go ahead and put it on your wish list in the eShop, and when it gets down to $10, go ahead and pick that up, because it was definitely worth $10. The adventure is there. It's a very long story campaign that should keep you entertained for hours and hours on a long plane ride or car ride or wherever you happen to be, where you want to just sit back and relax to a great story.